Welcome to Literary Libations with Librarians. And this time, just in case you weren't aware, January is Book Blitz Month. So we're going to share some of our favorite titles that you can add to your read list. And yes, I know January is almost over, but you can always add books to your to-read list. As we share some of our favorite titles, there are lots of different ways to get your hands on them. So the first is to call your local branch of the Monroe County Library System and speak to any of the staff there, and they'll be more than happy to assist you. If you want to go online to our online catalog, you can do that at the web address that's on your screen now, and that'll allow you to get your hands on any of the titles that are available in physical formats, hardcover, paperback, or audiobook on CD. And if a title is listed as being on Overdrive or Hoopla, those are our two digital platforms where you can download ebooks and audiobooks. Overdrive, you may also hear referred to as Libby. That's the name of Overdrive's app, and it provides downloadable ebooks and audiobooks and also magazines. And Hoopla has downloadable ebooks, audiobooks, and also movies, music, and graphic novels. And the fabulous thing about Hoopla is if you see a title on there with a lightning bolt next to it, there is never a wait for those titles. I am Jennifer Graneski, and I am the community librarian at the Dundee branch. And for our introductory question this week, I was just thinking about how there are all these holidays now. Like, you can go out to Google and find a holiday for every day of the year. There's all sorts of month celebrations and week-long celebrations. And while I love Book Blitz Month, I'm pretty sure it is not as celebrated as it should be. So that's why we're celebrating it. But the question is, if you could create your own obscure holiday for people to celebrate, what do you think you would create? So I was thinking, what would I do? And I was trying to think of things that make me happy right now, because I would want a holiday that made other people happy. So I was debating between make everybody watch PBS shows day, or make everybody put glitter on and be sparkly day. Like, those would be my 2 days. Like, you could all get your bedazzlers out and your sequins and your glitter and have a big get glittery day, or just watch PBS, like literally anything on PBS. Now, personally, I'm really attached to anything that Masterpiece Theater does. And if you haven't watched All Creatures Great and Small, you really need to be, because it's going to do your heart good. So those, I think, would be my 2 days that if I could have an obscure holiday, that's what I would have. And if those holidays already exist, let me know, because I'll be there to celebrate them. Also with us this week is Isabella Arnold, who is a sub throughout the Monroe County Library System. And what holiday would you create, Isabella?
Well, initially I was thinking something like Cozy Cuddle Day, where, like, you know, you're just cozy and cuddly. But then when you're talking about the glitter, it reminded me of a chapter in one of the books that I'm going to be talking about. And I feel like, you know what, we should actually have a day where we all, like, carry around a balloon and, like, give a balloon to a friend day. And because balloons spark a lot of joy, and, you know, no matter what age you are, like, balloons are delightful. My grandmother was, like, how old was she? She was probably like 82. And I can remember taking her to the grocery store and she just being like, let's buy a balloon. It's almost your mom's birthday. And I have these, like, amazing pictures of her with, like, just these balloons, and she's so happy. And she had dementia at the time, and she was just like, balloons. And so I feel like that would be my holiday. Like, have a reason to go to the store. I mean, I guess you don't really need a reason to go to the store and get a balloon, but, like, get your balloon, carry it around the store because it will spark joy for everybody else, and then give your balloon to somebody. That's my day.
I would participate in that. I would give balloons to people, as long as I didn't have to talk to people. If I could just be weird and awkward and be like, balloon.
People do that at, like Disney World. I've seen people, they buy a huge things of balloons and they just go and, like, here you go, and hand them out. It's so cute. Yes, so much joy.
Right. Thank you, Isabella. And also with us this week is Kristen Brown, a reference librarian at our Bedford branch. And what holiday would you create?
This one's tricky because there are so many possibilities, but there's also so many holidays that already exist. So the first one that came to my mind was tie-dye. I don't I feel like if you're wearing tie-dye, how are you in a bad mood? Like you have colors all over you. Let's just go out, make a tie-dye day. It probably already exists, but I think we should take it like next level. Like you should have a tie-dye hair accessory, hat, shirt, pants, sweats, comfy socks, tie-dye your shoes, whatever it takes. Get a shirt for your cat, get a shirt for your dog. I would put tie-dye stuff on my chickens. Let's do it.
Well, now I kind of want to see that.
I might have to work on that.
Tie-dyed chickens.
Obviously in like the most humane way possible, but
Yeah.
I'm going to try to put,
You know, if your chickens could
tie-dye
wear
like
something
little
other,
scarves. I'm sure
you
they
know,
could
that
wear
wouldn't
like
hurt
a
them.
bandana, like a little tie-dye bandana. Okay, stay
Now-
tuned.
Now I'm picturing all these laid back, snazzy looking chickens.
Oh, the best thing is I will share a video of them
Tie-dyed
running, running with their tie-dye, because chickens running, the best thing ever. So, okay,
Nice.
it's in motion. That's going to happen now.
There you go. I'm looking forward to it. Let me know what day you pick.
All right,
Yeah.
it'll probably be a summer holiday. They like
That's
to go
what
out
I
and about more.
Might be a little chilly in the winter.
Yeah.
All right. Now I'm looking forward to all these great holidays. So now we're going to go ahead and share just some of our favorite books that you can add to your to read list, whether it is Book Blitz Month or just any other month of the year. And I'm going to go ahead and ask Isabella to kick us off with some of her favorites.
Well, I will start with my joyful book. Oh no, I can't really see it. Joyful. It's called Joyful: The Surprising Power of Ordinary Things to Create Extraordinary Happiness. I literally finished it last night at like 10 p.m. and I read the first chapter and said, this is my new favorite book. Everybody needs to read it. Literally, I was one chapter in and texted my mother and was like, is this on your list? Because it needs to be. I discovered it on my favorite blog, Modern Mrs. Darcy. And this is a read along that they're doing in January. And yeah, I requested it because I want to be in that tribe. And it is delightful. It is super easy read. I believe this book is kind of like for people that say, oh, I can't read nonfiction. Nonfiction's too dense, too wordy, too difficult. This is like the perfect introductory nonfiction book for you. The author just literally goes chapter by chapter examining like what is joyful, like what is happiness. And it starts, the first couple chapters are about color and about how people like strive for color and people strive for rainbows. And, you know, color and rainbows bring this like implicit like sense of calm to people and children. And I was immediately like, I own too much black. And yeah, no, so it makes me like rethink, you know, half my wardrobe, I guess. And also that she has chapters on like nature, how being in nature can help calm yourself down, and how people strive to find like sequences in nature, and gardening, and this amazing garden that is in, where was it in? Like Copenhagen, maybe? It's probably in Denmark. It's probably in Denmark because the happiest people live in Denmark, if we're being honest. And it's all about, you know, finding natural form in nature and how that sparks joy, how play sparks joy, and dancing, and how some of the most ancient hieroglyphs they have are of people dancing and celebrating as like a community. And it was delightful. It was a truly delightful book, super easy read. The language is super easy. And you feel happier reading it, which of course is like the whole point of it. But yeah, super lovely book. It's on my list of my favorite things I've read ever, probably. Can't recommend it enough. And my dog also appreciated it too. Right, Toulouse. So yeah, it's super great, super easy, super joyful. Loved it. One of my favorite facts from the book is that I believe it's Norway or Iceland, I can't remember which one, but like 62% of the population believe in elves. Just drop that right there. Like, yeah, they just believe in magic and how magic is joyful. And yeah, so wonderful book. Can't, you know, love it enough. And then my other book is called The Cozy Minimalist Home Guide. I believe that's what the title is. cozy minimalist home. So I do not read a lot of interior design books because I don't like reading them. I find, you know, people's style. Oh my goodness, hold on. I find a lot of interior design books to just be so wordy and so not my style, and I just don't like anything about it. And this book, I was probably searching minimalism in the library system and just requested it on a whim. And I loved it. I loved it, and I can't recommend it enough as well to other people. Super easy to go through, and it's not like scary minimalism of like get rid of everything you own and now like you have a rock on your like countertop and that's it. Like it's not that type of minimalism. Like this is just more about, you know, making your choices, making minimal choices, I guess, and kind of considering a lot about your size of your home decor. That's one thing like I never thought about, that like on your walls, if you have a way more huge piece of artwork, it actually like solidifies your space than just a bunches of little things. And we tend to gravitate towards a bunch of little things because they're cheaper. And so if you actually just go all out and get like a huge masterpiece, then well, and masterpiece, I say like loosely, like I have a massive painting in my living room that I literally made with my son. And we just splattered paint all over a big old canvas from Hobby Lobby. And I got the biggest one possible because of that book, of course. And just really like helpful hints and tricks about designing your space so that it's cozy, and just not necessarily with less stuff, but it's cozy with less stuff. Like oversize your rugs. Make sure all of the feet of your furniture touch the rug. It's just like simple things like that that I thought was really accessible to all people, no matter like budgets and like what type of abode they live in. And just she kind of reorganized how I would go about designing a space. I say that so like I'm so fancy and design spaces. Not really. But like, you know, she, in one of the chapters, she talked about like, pick your rug first. Like, pick out your rug. Find a rug that you want, because there are thousands of paint colors. And if you pick your paint color first and then try to match it to a rug, you're never going to find that. So find your rug first. And she just kind of reordered my thinking of how to like make things look nicer. So yeah, super easy, another easy read. I can't recommend that one enough too. My uncle had just moved into a new house, and I was like, the Cozy Minimalist Home Guide, this is what they recommend. And he's like, where do I just go buy it for me? Like, I obviously need to read it, because you're right. It does feel a lot better with all the legs of the furniture on the rug. So yeah, so those are my two books. They make me super happy. Obviously, I mean, I'm a nonfiction girl all the way through. So I know nonfiction isn't everybody's cup of tea, but these are very accessible, very easy reads, very just soothing to read. So that's my January Book Blitz Month picks.
And I just have to say, when I was putting the slides together, the covers of both of your books made me super happy. Like the joyful cover with the confetti, I was like, yay! And then I would totally go sit in that chair. Like it immediately looks welcoming. So maybe I just need like book cover day. Like maybe we could have a book cover day. Everybody just share their favorite book covers. So
one of my earliest memories is being at the Ellis Library and a librarian trying to help me pick out a book. I don't know who it was. And I said, I judge books by their covers. And I picked up my books and walked away. I still do it to this day. I would sign up for that one immediately. I love a good book cover.
Excellent. All right. Thank you, Isabella. And Kristen, what are some of your favorite books that you think people should add to their to-read list?
Right. So actually, these two books are relatively new books to me as well. But much like Bella, I started reading them and thought, oh my gosh, like these are my favorite books. I bought copies of them. I plan on buying copies for everybody I know. They're amazing. The first one I'll start with is Bodies Are Cool by Tyler Feder. And the illustrations in this book are just beautiful. I saw this book by accident because my kids and I were looking for books at Bedford, and whenever they look for kids books, I look for kids books, because if you've been watching, I also love kids books, and you're never too old for picture books. So this one was just sitting on the shelf, and I immediately picked it up because of the cover. And I just thought, oh my gosh, like these people are so beautiful on here. Open it up, look at the pages, and I'm just in awe still. We've read this book so many times now. There's not a whole lot of words in it. The images are just kind of take the show on this. But I do like the way that it's written, because it does talk very specifically about bodies, but also in a very positive and fun way. And my 4-year-old, I have caught her numerous times with this, just sitting on the couch looking through it. And every time that she looks through it, she has questions about things, which I love, because this helps create those conversations. So if it's something that I know that I can help her answer, then I do that. And if I don't, then we look it up together and we can talk about these things. And so that kind of provides a space for everybody to see these things and to talk about everybody's different bodies. Plus, it's just so nice to see pictures of the way that people are. Like, even my husband and I were looking through it, and he said, like, there are so many different people represented in this book. It just makes my heart so happy. It is the embodiment of inclusivity and connectedness. And it's just so colorful and lovely. And I just love it. So I highly recommend this. There's so many different things. There's a couple pages in here, and I should have taken a picture of it with my camera. These ones I found online. But there are 2 pages in the back, and it shows a family when they're young, and then it shows a family, that same family, when they've gotten like older as they grow. And it's such a beautiful transition. And that's one of the cool pages where we go through and we're like, oh, look at how this person has grown. Look at how this person has changed. And so it's been really wonderful to go through that book. So highly recommend that one. It's absolutely beautiful. The second book that I am reading, I'm still currently reading this book, but again, much like Bella said, I picked it up and I was like, this is amazing. I don't remember exactly where I heard about it. I think it was on a podcast, and just from the subject matter, I was like, I have to read this. Sorry, excuse me. My throat is getting very dry. So this is Braiding Sweetgrass, Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and Teachings of Plants by Robin Wall Kimmer. And this is possibly the most beautiful book I've ever read in my entire life. I'm listening to it right now, and she narrates it, which, again, if you've watched this show before, you know that some of us are obsessed when the author reads the books. Her voice is so melodic and soothing, and she just has such a, like, her personality really comes through in it. So also, on a side note, I cry pretty much every time I read this book. And it's not like bad, sad tears. It's like joyous tears where you feel like she's like speaking to your soul. When I read this book, I just feel like, yes, that sounds great. That sounds amazing. I connect with that. I feel that. And so the book marries beautifully the scientific knowledge that she has, because she is a botanist, and her indigenous beliefs. So it's all about this scientific, spiritual, communal relationship that people have with nature, the plants and animals around us. And there's so many parts of this that have been my favorite, but a couple of my favorite parts thus far have been her talking about her experience with learning her native language. And there's only 9 elders that she knows that are left that know how to speak this language. And so she talks about how in her language, there are no terms for gender. There is no he, she, it. So there is no hierarchy of humans and animals. And it's divided up between living and non-living things. And so, like, my desk is non-living, but a tree is living. A stream is living. You know, rocks are living. They have had experiences over time. And even though we cannot fathom that sometimes because of the language that we use and how we categorize things, that's the way that their language is and the way that their culture is. And she just talks about what would it be like if that was our mindset? What would that be like if we saw everything through a lens of, you are a living being, even though you don't speak the same language I do, even though I don't know everything about you, but I care for you and I nurture for you because you do the same for me. Another beautiful thing from this book is she talks about the and I know I'm going to pronounce this wrong, I've been trying to practice, but the Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving address, which is it's their name for themselves, but in the English colonizing terms, they are the Iroquois. And their Thanksgiving address, they recite before and after meetings and councils and celebrations, but they also do it individually. And in the book, she talks about how she felt like she needed to get permission in order to share this and talk about it. And one of the elders looked at her and said, it's meant to be shared. And so I thought that was really powerful, because the address is just thanking everything in nature and everything in life. And it's something that I've kind of put into my practice. So I just want to read like a little snippet of it because it's absolutely beautiful. And so it starts with the people. Today we have gathered and we see the cycles of life continue. We have been given the duty to live in balance and harmony with each other and all living things. So now we bring our minds together as one as we give greetings and thanks to each other as people. Now our minds are one. The Earth Mother, we are all thankful to our mother, the Earth, for she gives us all we need for life. She supports our feet as we walk upon her. It gives us joy that she continues to care for us, as she has from the beginning of time. To our mother, we send greetings and thanks. Now our minds are one. And so it carries through the water, the fish, the plants, everything. And it's just such a beautiful way to be mindful and to be present and to just appreciate this relationship that we have with everything. And then the last part that I've really appreciated about this book so far is that she talks about her relationship with her daughters. And she has 2 daughters, and she talks about her experience with kind of raising them on her own. And she just talks about how powerful it is that she has this relationship with them, and she really feels the need to carry on that knowledge and to carry on that love for nature, because ultimately they are going to be the ones that change the way that things are. So like we can only do so much in our lifetime, but it's really, we need to start sowing those seeds so that later on things end up growing differently. And she talks about how her youngest went to graduate school and just the emptiness she kind of felt like once her kids were grown, and after she had dropped her daughter off at the college, she went on this canoe trip, and I'm like doing my weaving and I'm like bawling my eyes out because I'm like, this is gonna be me one day, like my kids are gonna get older and then they're gonna leave. And it just really hit me then that I have this time now, and I really need to dedicate as much of that time as I can to being patient and gentle with them and loving and showing them all of these beautiful things in this world. And so I cannot recommend this book enough. Like 11 out of 10, 100%. If any of that, even if it doesn't sound good to you, just read it. Oh, it will make your heart so happy. It's such a good book.
Oh, thank you. That does sound really amazing. Thank you, Kristen. And now my books. The first one is from a series that I've talked about on Literary Libations several times. The series is the Wayward Children series. The first book is Every Heart a Doorway. The 7th book in the series is Where the Drowned Girls Go, by Shannon McGuire. Shannon McGuire also writes under the name Mira Grant. So if you read the Zombie Feed series, you would already be familiar with her. I have not read that series, although it sounds like my cup of tea. This is the only series by Shannon McGuire that I've read because I love it. So the Wayward Children series is based on the idea that every heart has a doorway to another world, and that world will represent what is truly home for you, what is really in your heart. It is where you belong. And those worlds are wild and strange, and they are never safe. But these young people go into those worlds through their doorways and feel like that is where they are supposed to be. And for some reason, they are then forced out and back here into the real world. Once they come back, a lot of them have a very hard time dealing with the real world, because now this doesn't feel like their heart. This doesn't feel like their home. They are outsiders here. And so Eleanor West created a school, Eleanor West's Home for Wayward Children, where she brings these young people together, gives them a found family where they can work through the idea that that world isn't available right now. How do I live in this world? So the previous 6 books have a whole lot of stuff happening. In this one, it focuses on one of the teenagers named Cora. And she has wandered into a world that is not her own in order to help another friend. And while she was there, she experienced a traumatic event with some really frightening creatures. And she is concerned that those creatures are going to be able to follow her if she goes back through her doorway into the world that she considers home. And she is so frightened of this, she decides she needs to leave Eleanor West's home and she needs to go to the Whitethorn Academy. And the Whitethorn Academy is the opposite of what Eleanor West tries to do. The Whitethorn Academy tries to help these young people forget that the doors exist. They tell the kids that those doors aren't real, that they were never real. Like, you want to talk about gaslighting? That is what the doors aren't real. If the doors were real, they would be bad for you. And that's, so they're trying to transform their minds. But Cora is so frightened of what she could possibly bring into the world that she loves, that that's what she wants. She wants to forget. She wants a clean slate. So she goes to the Whitethorn Academy, and it is as awful as it sounds. And it deals with so many things, you know, and these are little short books, like 150 pages, every single one of them. But McGuire squishes a lot in there, debates about how struggling and traumatized people can and should be helped, how telling people what is the right way to view the world can be damaging. There's so much in there, and I feel that she does it without being didactic, but just gets you to think about what it would be like to experience this. And of course, there's a pulse pounding escape plot too. So you get to experience that as well. So these are just fabulous books. You should not start with Where the Drowned Girls Go, even though it's fabulous. If you pick up book number 7, this is not one that you could just start there and it would make sense. Start with book 1. Book 1's still my favorite, and then read through them and you'll love this one as well. My other book is a book that I read back in 2015, but it is a book that has stuck with me. And we did it for book club, and it's Geraldine Brooks's People of the Book. And you can't see it in the picture, but this is another one of those really beautiful covers. The gold on the cover is actually, it almost looks like gold leaf. It's very shiny when you see the actual book cover. And the book that is referred to here is the Sarajevo Haggadah. And Haggadah in Hebrew means telling. And so if you have a Jewish Haggadah, it is the telling of the exodus of the Jewish people from Egypt. So this is the Seder. These are the prayers and the story that they would tell during Passover. And the Sarajevo Haggadah is one of the very first, if not the first, illuminated Jewish manuscripts that we have. The Sarajevo Haggadah is real. The book is fictional, but it is a real book. And it was saved from being destroyed in a lot of different situations. They think that it was created sometime in the late 1300s, early 1400s. And so Brooks tells the story through the eyes of Hannah Heath, who is a book restorer and has been called on to come and look at the Sarajevo Haggadah, restore what she can. And then also there are little bits and pieces in the book that she is supposed to take as artifacts, and they can be things as small as hairs or insect wings. And as she finds each of these, then the reader is propelled into the past of the book and how this book was created and how it survived. And you get the story told backwards. So you get this book in World War II when it was protected by a Muslim man. You get this book in Venice when it was protected by a Catholic priest. You get this book throughout its history when it's protected by people who were experiencing often their own exile and feeling like outsiders. So it's just a really beautiful book. If you have any interest in history, if you have any interest in Jewish history, But even if you don't have an interest in those, you should pick this up because it shares how important books and art and stories and tellings are to all people throughout time. So it's a wonderful book. Geraldine Brooks, almost everything she writes is amazing. So you can pick up any of them, but pick up People of the Book first. So those are my 2 favorite books that I feel everybody should be adding to their to-read list. Thank you to Kristen and Isabella for joining us this week. The next time that we get together, we're going to talk about love being in the air, because it's going to be around Valentine's Day. So love is in the air, and it is in our books as well. So that's what we'll be sharing next time. Thank you for listening. We hope you have great weeks. Bye.